welcome Joanna to her Success Tribe.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. So Joanna Hennon, you are a soul wisdom mentor, which sounds amazing, all of them words put together. And you've delivered us the masterclass on sliding into success. But I'm not even going to attempt to explain to people what it is about and how you work, because you're the expert. So tell us, how do you work with your clients and what do you do?
Okay, so it's super fun. What I do is I help people to be more soul smart, which means using all the tools and the wisdom and the power that you have at soul level to create more success with more ease. Because that's what we all want, is more success with more ease in whatever ways we define that for ourselves, right? And I really believe that, as souls having a human experience, we have access to so much more power, wisdom, and tools that we're using. It's like we have access to all this stuff, and we're like choosing to do it the hard way most of the time. So yes, that's what I do. I help people to figure out for themselves what that means and connect them to their higher self so that they can kind of move in alignment with all that. And the Slide into Success workshop that you guys now have access to is really fun. It's playing with the concept of parallel realities. So instead of always thinking about your goals in the future as something that you're striving, working towards, because it kind of keeps you in that striving but never reaching energy, we talk about the parallel self instead of the future self, so that you can kind of, it's just like a simple shift, so that you understand that everything you want, everything you're aiming for is actually right here next to you for the taking. There is a reality where that has already happened, and all you need to do is shift your focus into that. It's like at soul level, your consciousness, and instead of focusing on the reality where you don't yet have what you want, you're going to focus on the reality where you already do have what you want, and so you'll experience that.
Wow. That sounds amazing. Like, I just can't wait to dive in. And like, I've never really thought about it in this way. And I know when we first connected, I was so blown away by the concept of it. I just knew that we had to have you to do something, because it is incredible. I've always thought, and I teach, to project yourself into the future self, and to visualize as if you already achieved things that you want to achieve in the future. But the actual concept of realizing that it is like there already, just like you said, just that little switch just gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, me too. And it's like, if the future thing works for you, then awesome. Like, continue with that. There's no right way for everybody. Everybody has to find their own way to create that success with more ease. And that's going to be slightly different for everyone. So if you totally resonate and it doesn't kind of keep you from actually moving forward, then do it that way, right? But for me, it was really hard, because I kept thinking, it's like I kept putting off my happiness and putting off like the way I want to feel, because it was always in the future. So when my business was at a certain level, when I had lost the weight, when whatever, and that I just felt that kept me stuck. So when I kind of came across this way of doing things, and I developed this from just the idea that there's no time, basically. So at that spiritual level, time doesn't exist. It's a man-made concept. So I was like, well, if that's true.
This kind of stuff, it gives me like the heebie-jeebies. But it's like,
it's fun.
So fascinating.
Yeah, and I always say, like, you don't even have to like totally believe in it, and we don't have to kind of. I explain some of the very basic science in the masterclass, but like, we don't have to understand it fully. What we need is something that helps us create more of what we want sooner. Right? Because what's the point of kind of leaving it for some time in the future? So if this approach resonates with you and it works for you, then just take it for your own and do with it what you want to do, and let it help you. That's what it's all about.
Completely. And yeah, I love that you say that you don't have to understand it, because you don't, like, I know Tony Robbins always says, like, when you turn the light switch on, you don't necessarily understand how that light comes to a light bulb, but you're going to turn the light switch on anyway, because we need light.
Yeah, exactly. So try it. I lead you in the workshop through a visualization. If the concepts appeal to you and you try the visualization and it works for you, then just use it. Use it like you would use the internet or electricity without probably entirely understanding exactly how it works.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me about you then and how you ended up getting into this kind of thing. Where did it all begin?
Oh goodness, I don't know. I don't know where it all began. I've always I've always been interested in kind of the weird things, the slightly kind of alternative things. So as a teenager, I would love to explore like witchcraft and Wicca and past lives and all that stuff just totally fascinated me. But it was kind of on the side, and I took the traditional route, like all of us probably did, or most of us probably did. I went into a corporate job and into kind of that world, and I kept this stuff on the side. And it was only maybe 5 or 6 years ago, well, no, longer than that, before like that, than that ago, that it started calling my name again. And I kind of started dabbling in it again and reading stuff, and then I had just so much stress in the job I was in, that it became very clear that I had to find another way. And once I made up my mind that there must be another way, and I didn't make space for it. I had a bit of a nervous breakdown. I had to be at home for a while. And kind of during that time, all these classes and things, bits of information came my way about the law of attraction and spirituality and all this stuff. And it kind of just started from there. So like, it was always my path, but I didn't actually do anything with it until maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
It's amazing as well, because I'm sure like people who are listening and the first thing that you think about when you say I had a nervous breakdown is something negative, but actually this was quite clearly a really positive time in your life where a change happened and it led you on a different path, and the path that you're on now, which is so much more purposeful by the sounds of what you're saying.
Yeah, totally. And anything, this is part of being soul smart, actually, is that you always have a choice as to how you look at what's happening around you, right? And you always can choose something different. So that wasn't my most soul smart moment by any means. The reason I had the nervous breakdowns that I hadn't been listening to the signs. I should have stopped by myself a while ago and taken a break a while before that, but I didn't. So this happened instead to kind of force me to make some space to kind of reassess, is this really what I want my life to be? And I have those moments all the time, as I'm sure everybody does, when you get into that overwhelm. And you have to just question, just instead of kind of going into, oh, this is all crap because I'm in this overwhelm, take it as an opportunity, and question, is this really what I want my business to look like? Is this really what I want my life to look like? What can change so that it feels better again?
Yeah, I love that so much. And I just had a realization of something that happened in my own life, which was definitely a lesson, but certainly did not feel like it at the time.
Yeah, when you're in the middle of it, it's kind of hard to take the spiritual route and be all calm about it.
Yeah, and I think things do happen in our lives for a reason, don't they? And I do believe that everything negative or positive is brought to us for a lesson. There's something for us to learn, there's some reason for us to grow. So yeah, it's so powerful when you look at it that way, rather than focusing too much on the negative. And
Indeed, I really believe there's meaning in everything. And for me, this is just such a fun way of living my life, to look for meaning in everything, and to look for meaning in the encounters and the conversations and even the bad things. And I really believe that our soul, so your soul, my soul, they're steering us in exactly the right direction towards success. Those desires that you have them for a reason, so you're definitely meant to have them. I really believe that. Because we don't have the same desires. I don't have a desire to like be president of my country, whereas some people do. We all have different ones, and the ones that I have are right for me. That's my soul calling me towards something, and the ones that you have are right for you. That's your soul calling you towards something. And the problem is that as human beings, we just kind of go, no, I can't. I'm too scared, or I'm not enough, or I have to learn something. And I always say that it's like the soul trying to drag a sack of potatoes towards this goal, like, and you're the sack of potatoes going, no, maybe tomorrow,
Yeah.
And if you just get out of the way and let the soul steer you and really follow those nudges and learn to trust that your instincts are leading you in exactly the right direction, even if it's not kind of making sense at the moment, then everything just becomes so much easier.
Yes.
Sorry, I get a bit overexcited.
No, I absolutely love it. I just felt like I just needed to take that in for a second. Okay, so let's, without going into too much detail about the masterclass, because this is going to go on the podcast as well.
Oh, cool.
So what kind of couple of tips have you got for people that they can use, maybe go away and put actionable steps in place to help them slide into success?
Right. Well, the Slide into Success workshop is specifically about accessing that super successful version of you. So I just take you through the visualization in that. So that's really, the only tip I could give you is to make sure that you stay in touch with that energy. Once you experience what that energy of super successful you feels like, then really to make a commitment to remember that and to make choices from her perspective. That's what it's about, right? To start making your decisions from the perspective of the person you want to become, whose reality you want to experience, rather than the person you are now. Because if you're listening to this and this is resonating, then you're trying to change something. So you don't actually want more of what you currently have. You want something different. Then just start making choices from that different perspective, right? So it's an awareness. Now, if you want to just start to connect with your higher self more, there are loads of ways to do that. I started with oracle cards. And that's just a really fun way of starting to get messages and kind of see how things show up for you, and learn to ask the right questions, because it's also about how you ask the questions. And just ask a question in the morning and then pull a card and see what it gives you. And then later on, just see how that showed up. What could it have? What did you not see? How did it pan out that maybe you did not expect? So that's a really easy way to start kind of welcoming in that higher perspective, that higher side of you.
Okay, I'm just making some notes because this is gold. It's so helpful. So firstly, make a commitment. So what kind of tips would you give someone who is ready to make a commitment, and just to keep that like at the forefront of your mind? So once you've made the commitment, how do you stay consistent with that?
Yeah, the consistency is the key, right? So we can all do things once in a while, and then slip back into old patterns, right? So it's a commitment. So what I do is I have a half-hour block every morning that's for mindset and energy work, and that's where I'll slot in whatever it is that I need to do. The thing that I'm consistent with most is spending time with what I want to believe about the world. So my intentions about my reality, right? So really to have a slot in the day where I literally read out loud with as much feeling as I can muster what I want to believe to be true, as if it's already true. And I write those statements. They're kind of like glorified affirmations, let's say. I write them based on the work with the super successful version of you. So I know what that energy feels like, and I can write then those intentions from that perspective. And when I spend time with them every day, that's all I need to do, because the rest of the day will align, and I will get the right opportunities. The right things will come my way, and I trust that the right people will come into my experience for those things to actually manifest. So, make sure you have a slot, right? It's like in productivity, they always say, right? If it's not in the calendar, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So put it in the calendar, even though it's only energy work.
Yeah, but that is the most powerful part of it. Like, I start my day with a routine as well.
Yeah.
And I'll do my journaling, I'll do my reading, and I'll listen and feed myself with motivational clips, audio books, that kind of thing. And if I don't do that, I definitely see a lag in everything else.
I'm the same, and
that's important.
Yeah, I agree. And the energy, like I always say, that action doesn't actually create anything. It's the energy behind the action that matters. So you can be, posting all over social media all you want. It's not going to do anything unless the intention behind it and the energy behind it is in the right energy. Otherwise, you're just going to be brought more of the same. and you're
Yeah.
only going to experience more of the same.
I definitely think that, so my massive keywords are massive action, but I do believe that you have to do that work and then take the action.
Yeah. But when you do the work, you take the right
Yeah,
action.
yeah.
Anybody can, everybody can stay busy all day and say they're doing stuff, but that's not the point.
Definitely. Okay, so make the commitment, block out half an hour of your time to put yourself in the right mindset, do the energy work, do what resonates with you,
Whatever
that's
you
reading,
want,
whether that's affirmations, whether that's saying out loud, whether it's
whatever makes you feel good. So that's really the most important thing. Like, don't get really stuck in that, it doesn't have to be half an hour. It doesn't have to be anything. The only thing it has to be is that it is make you feel good, make you feel confident. Like, when I say good, it doesn't mean like fun for the sake of fun. It's that high vibration place where you're confident, where you trust that you are enough and that the right things are coming your way and that everything's happening. So whatever makes you feel that way.
So we could like put on some Britney Spears and dance in the middle
You
of
could
the living room.
Totally. Whatever makes you feel that way.
Makes me feel good. Secret sauce.
Yeah, secret sauce. Music is super powerful, right? That's I like to, I don't really listen to music so much, but I love to sing. So like sometimes when I'm feeling really low, to like, and it doesn't have to be in the morning. I do this early afternoon a lot when my energy dips, I put on karaoke YouTube of show tunes and I just belt them out.
Oh my God, you have to do some lives doing that. Like Insta stories, that is such the place for it.
I don't think I'm not quite there yet. We'll see what super successful me says about
Oh my God, right, I'll be watching out for you on Insta stories. I'll hold you accountable to that one.
But it really just makes me feel like $1 million. It just makes me feel really good.
Yeah. Okay, and then number 2, connecting with your higher self. So whether that's so for you that looks like using oracle cards, and you mentioned about asking the right questions.
Yeah.
So for someone who might not resonate with oracle cards, is there some other kind of advice that you'd give?
To connect with your higher self, there's loads of things. You can do automatic writing where you connect in, whether your higher self or your guides, it doesn't really matter. But you make that connection, and you can do that through some visualizations or, in various ways. You can find, I'm sure if you Google that, you'll find loads of things. And then you just close your eyes, ask a question, and start writing. That's another way of receiving guidance. I'm a writer, so I do that most mornings as well. Because otherwise, if I keep it just in my head and in that visualization space, it doesn't work so well for me. I'm not a very visualization-y person. So to get all my guidance just through that is very difficult for me. So I prefer to kind of I feel like if I write, then I really can get out of the way and I can let the guidance come through.
Yes.
So that's another way. Another way is the way I started actually before the oracle cards even, is intuitive art. Because intuitive art, it gets the ego out of the way and it lets the soul messages to come through. So in the work that I do with my clients, we do a lot of intuitive art, whether that's mandalas or dream boards. I run a group called the Soul Space, where now we've just done dream boards, intuitive dream boards for 2018. And that's in an intuitive way, so that you not only have a dream board, but you have messages from your higher self about the best next steps forward, let's say.
That sounds amazing.
It's fun. It adds a layer, right? It adds a layer to what we already do. Yeah.
So how would you do a dream board from the intuitive place?
So basically, you instead of choosing things consciously and like slapping them onto paper, right? That's the conscious dream board, and that's fine. That also has its place in the manifesting process, right?
Yeah.
But here you would connect with your higher self or ground your energy in whatever way you do that, and it's really enough to just set that intention that you're now connecting with your soul. And then you just look through magazines and just let your soul steer you to the right things, and don't judge them, right? So if you kind of if you get a picture of a cat You're not like, oh, but I don't want a cat, so I'm not going to put that on my dream board. Just take whatever feels like it's the right thing, and then arrange it in whatever way feels is the right way. And really, that's it. And you'll see from the process, just pay attention to what comes through as you work, maybe phrases or insights or anything like that. And then when you look at the dream board when it's finished as well, you'll be able to see connections between things, or maybe there's a pattern or a theme. Like you'll be able to get some guidance from that already. So if you need help, then someone like me can help. So if anybody wants to talk more about that, then feel free to contact me.
Definitely, it sounds amazing. Okay, so before we finish, is there anything that I've not asked you that you think everyone should know?
I think everyone should know that you are so much more than meets the eye. You're stuck here in your body at the moment, but you are so much more. You are such a powerful, powerful being. And it's really time for you to step into that and use those powers that you have to create what you want. You are totally capable of doing this. Life isn't something that just happens to you. You can create it.
Thank you so much. Okay, where can people find you then to talk to you more?
You can find me at joannahennon.com. You can find me on Facebook. I'm Joanna Hennon across all the platforms.